Hey, just a little behind the scenes today. You see here I got on the tailgate? This is what I keep my camping gear in. I've kind of got everything dialed into these 3 containers, plus this one. This one actually goes on the kayak with me. But this one has been on the kayak with me too. It's you know, a little Craftsman cooler. It's a good little cooler. That's not a cooler, Travis. It's a good little tote, and it fits in the kayak really good. And it's not waterproof, but this is what I keep my kayak camping gear in. I've had some questions, have people ask me, like, you know, like, how do you get all that stuff in that kayak? Well, this is a pretty good sized kayak. It's got a great hatch in the front, and so does my Lure 11.5 right there. It's got a hatch in the front of it also. It's not quite as long, but I could put every bit of this right in the hatch there as well, and, you know, have room to spare. But let me go through this and pull some of this out, and I'll show you exactly how I put this in my kayak. Maybe something you ain't never seen before. Okay, let me show you what I got going on here. This hatch, like I said, this is the Lure 13.5 Feelfree Kayak. If you have a Feelfree, this will perfectly fit for you. But if you don't, if you have a hatch like this, this is a great idea, a great addition if you go on multi-day trips, or, you know, even want to utilize underneath your kayak. This kayak has a really huge storage underneath the foot pad here. But I have a rope tied here. I actually have 2 of them. This one's, you know, this one I had a spare paddle tied to this one on my last trip, because I knew I was going to be doing a lot of paddling. I didn't want to break a paddle and be without, so I did put a spare paddle, and I tied it to that rope, and I shoved it, and it was all the way in the back somewhere. So but I utilized this. It's got knots tied in it where I can put a carabiner wherever I want. And the way I pack my kayak, if you see all these bags, you probably can't see all of them. I have smallest to biggest. I carry my clothing, everything I'm going to wear. This one's labeled pants. I love these bags here. I'll try to link all these below where you can look at these. They have a see-through part, and I like to be able to see in it. You know, even though I don't put a lot in here, when I go on a 3-day trip, you know, my pants, if it's cold, you know, like it was on my last trip to the Okefenokee Swamp, it was pretty cool at night, even a little bit of cool in the daytime, but I'll pack my pants or shorts in here. And I like to utilize smaller dry bags. Like some people that have a one big dry bag, you know, similar to this. This is a big dry bag, but it's just, you know, condensed down to a small one. But some people have a big dry bag and have it sitting right on top if you have a big open cockpit area, which is fine, you know, if you do it like that. But I like to do it this way, because when I get to camp, the way I do it, my clothing is something I'm not going to utilize until I do get to camp. But I label it. This one says my shirts, and I have another one here, sleep. That means it's stuff that I'm going to sleep with at night. When it gets cool, I'll carry a pair of long johns or something, some wool socks, a long sleeve t-shirt, and that's what I sleep in. And this one here also has my my underclothes, my underwear and stuff like that, because that's when I'm going to change at night before I go to bed. I'm going to put on clean underwear, of course, you know. But I start with these, and the reason I do that is because I'm not going to need this throughout the day. I'm gonna you know, only pull this out when I get to camp, and I'll put it on my longest carabiner. I'll click it in here, and I tend to shove them down this side, but I'll put one there. And what I'll do to utilize, you know, my carabiner, I'll hook another one onto it, and it'll go in there just like that. And I'll put my sleep stuff in first, my pants second, and then, you know, there's nothing in here, but this is usually the size of them. You know, my shirts, in the summertime, I might take one of these out and put shorts, shirts, and you know, my day clothes in one bag, especially if it's just a one-night trip. I won't carry 3 bags, but, you know, if it's cool and stuff and I need a long sleeve shirt, I'll utilize all 3 bags. But for today's purposes, we're gonna do all 3 bags. And I have my next loop, I will take another carabiner, click it in, and put my shirts right there. And these here, I go back and my shirts are next in line. And the next thing I have my sleep system. Now, this is my top quilt and this is my under quilt. This bag will not be used no more. I'm utilizing it here because I don't have another one, but I'll soon be going to get another. This is actually a Feelfree dry bag I picked up, and it's a really good quality bag, and I'll probably get another one of these because I like the slenderness. You know, it's tall and slender. And this is my One Wind top quilt in here, One Wind brand under quilt for my hammock. My quilt system will go down this side. I'll hook it on the D-ring and I'll shove it down there as far as I can get it. And my next thing, like I said, this bag here is a little bulky, and there's FedEx. Let me go see what FedEx wants. I'll be right back. Yeah, that was FedEx, but dang, wasn't for me. It was the wife's package, so she orders a lot of FedEx lately. But anyway, back to the stuffing the kayak. This is my under quilt, and I'll put it, like I say, it's a little bit more bulky bag, and it works great if you put it on top or something like that. But as my clothes and all go down that way, this will sit right in front, and it'll sit right there because it's a bulkier bag. I'm gonna get a smaller bag to put it in because it'll pack down pretty tight. It ain't a down under quilt. It's the synthetic, which, you know, it don't pack down quite as good as down, but it packs down pretty tight. But it sits right here, and it sits, you know, pretty good ways back. And the next thing, which is my last, is my hammock and my tarp for my hammock. And I put everything in dry bags, and, you know, I don't want to get to camp and have a little water or something happen and have a wet hammock to have to sleep in. But what I do is take my last carabiner, which is, no, I have one more. It's not quite the last one, but I'll hook it on there and shove it right on down. And my clothes are set in such a small package, they just go right back in there and sit nice and tight. And this is my tarp, and I really don't have to put a carabiner on it because my rope is already getting tight, which I need to extend that rope. But my rope is already getting, you know, as far as it'll go back, and my tarp will sit right there on that little ledge in this kayak. Now my food, I usually carry a lot of dry food, and it fits in these smaller bags like this right here. And this one has actually got a hole in it. I'm glad I seen that. I feel air coming out of it. But I'll carry like my potatoes and stuff that you've seen me carry on a trip, and I will stick some fruit, nuts, stuff like that will go in here, and it'll just sit right here along with this one here. This bag here, the red one, I use for my coffee. Coffee, creamer, sugar if I carry it, which I don't really carry creamer sugar anymore, just coffee. And that's what the red bag's for, and it sits right here. And I mean, I also have a sponge, stays up in the front. It's one of these sponge from Lowe's. It stays right up there in case I get any moisture. It sometimes does get a little moisture in here, and you know, I'll take that sponge and sponge it out. And this, get this out. This right here stays in the back of the kayak. It straps down in the back behind my cooler, and it's just I think it's a 16 liter, 19. It's a 19 quart, and it fits all my cooking stuff like that. But this, I don't have this out. This is my water bladder, which is a 6 liter. It's 200 fluid ounces. 200 full ounces will fit in this, which is, you know, it's quite a bit of water. It's enough to last for quite a while. And this, once I fill it up with water, it sits right in the bottom of my kayak. It forms to the bottom of that kayak. And believe it or not, it stays fairly cool because it's against the water, and it, you know, it might get a little warm in this kayak, but it's down there on the bottom of the kayak, and that water on the bottom keeps it fairly cool. And that sits right there. And I got one more thing. This here I've had for years and years. This is my toiletry. You know, I keep napkins, toilet paper. I keep stuff like that. And this one where I can, and it stays right here on top where I can access it during the day if I need to. But that's the way I pack all this in here. And I still have, you know, I mean, there's still a lot of room in here. Show you just how much room's in here. And sometimes I do camp in a tent, and this is my tent. It's a Zion 2-person tent. I'll link this below. It's a pretty decent tent. It's got its own footprint that comes with it, and it's not ultra light, and it's not, you know, I mean, it may be a couple of pounds. It's not real heavy. It will sit right there. And this is my it's a Feelfree is the name of it, but it's a sleeping pad. And I've never really had a sleeping pad before. See if you can see that right there. Maybe you can. But this is the first one I ever had, and let me tell you, it's a game changer when you're sleeping in a small tent. Anyway, this is a pretty good starter kit for some people. I don't remember the cost of it. I'll link it below. You know, I already have a hammock. I have a hammock tarp in there. I've got a 2-man tent and a sleeping pad. I can put that there. This is a Coleman. No. I'm sorry. It's a Field and Stream. It's a sleeping bag that can go in there. I mean, there's still a ton of room in here, and I can carry all that. And I forgot to mention, this is a tarp from Harbor Freight. It's the I think it's the smallest one you can get from Harbor Freight. I think it's 5 by 9, 5 by 6, 4 by 6, something like that. But I get these. They're dirt cheap at Harbor Freight. I cut this in half, and I use this for my. I'll spread it out under my hammock. Like if I get up in the middle of the night, I put my shoes on it, and if I have to get up in the middle of the night and pee, or before I go to bed, I can take my shoes off on this and kind of dust my feet off and not, you know, not get dirt all in my hammock. But that goes in here. I carry a half a towel. These are some old towels my wife didn't use no more, and I cut them in half to dry off with sometimes. And this, I mean, and I still have a pretty good cavity here to put stuff. It's amazing the amount of stuff you can put in this kayak like this. But anyway, that should answer a few questions for you guys. Everything that's in this kayak is all packed small. It utilizes I utilize the small dry bags just for that reason, so I can stuff it all back there and clip it in, and it don't wander off to the back where I can't reach it. So and this right here, let me show you this. This has got my cook set. It's got more paper towels, my lighter, my thermocell, my pillow, which usually goes in there, but I don't know why it's in here, but it is. My little stove, my little stuff like that. It's got all this stuff in here. It's a good size for this. I got an extra flashlight in there, but this stuff I put in here is stuff I don't really care if it gets wet. You know, like I've got this little bag here. It's got paper towels. It's got aspirin, some Tums, stuff like that. You never know when somebody, you know, might feel sick at night, but all that's in Ziploc bags in a dry bag. So if it gets a little wet, it's not gonna affect it. And this straps behind the cooler on the back. This right here straps underneath my seat. This is what I put. It's all dirty right now, all this pollen and crap, but I put this underneath my seat. And this has my wallet and my car keys. These 2 washcloths are to cushion my protection. But yeah, this is just to cushion everything in there when I put it in there. That way it's not just flopping around. And that clips to my seat right there, and it stays right there under my seat at all times. But that's pretty much it. Anyway, if y'all have any questions, any comments, drop them below, and we'll see y'all next time on the water. Bye now.